Welcome to True Life Lessons. Today we tell the story of a man who learned that saving money can actually be dangerous. Meet Ethan, a night shift security guard who believed that the only way to survive the harsh world was to hoard cash. He lived in a small, struggling town where power cuts were frequent and the economy was as unstable as the flickering lights. Every single night, Ethan would count his meager earnings, placing every spare penny into a thick envelope hidden inside a kitchen drawer. To him, this envelope was not just paper and ink, it was his shield against the unpredictable disasters of his difficult life. Even when his work boots fell apart, exposing his feet to the cold, he refused to spend a single dime on himself. He believed that suffering today was necessary for safety tomorrow, so he taped his shoes and continued to walk in pain. His wife, Mia, watched him with sadness, knowing that his obsession with saving was slowly draining the joy from their daily lives. Their son Leo grew up thinking that being cold and hungry was normal because his father was terrified of the utility bills. Ethan sacrificed his comfort and health, eating the cheapest food and walking miles to save bus fare, all for that envelope. But life has a cruel way of testing us. Little Leo fell sick with a high fever that required immediate medical attention. With a heavy heart, Ethan had to raid his precious savings to pay for the doctor and medicine, draining months of hard work. The envelope was empty again. He felt defeated, as if all his sacrifice and suffering had amounted to absolutely nothing in the end. Just as he started to save again, the landlord increased the rent. It seemed like the universe was punishing his attempt to save. He realized a painful pattern. Every time he saved a little amount, an emergency would come along and wipe it all away. He was trapped in a cycle of scarcity. He was saving to be safe, but he never actually felt safe or secure. One evening, a massive blackout hit the town. The darkness was absolute, bringing the cold and fear right into their living room. Leo started crying in the dark. They scrambled to find candles, but they had none left because Ethan had refused to buy them. Ethan felt a deep sense of shame. He had money in the envelope, but his family was sitting in the dark and cold. Then he saw something strange. Across the street, Mrs. Carter's house was glowing with bright light, while everyone else was in darkness. Driven by curiosity and a need for warmth, Ethan walked over and knocked on her door to ask how she had power. Mrs. Carter welcomed him in. Inside it was bright and warm, powered by several large, rechargeable camping lights and battery stations. She explained that she bought these lights not just for herself, but to rent out to neighbors during these frequent power cuts. She showed him a box full of cash. While everyone else was suffering, she was providing a service and making a profit. She looked at him and said, "Money sitting in a drawer is dead. It must move and work to keep you safe." Ethan felt a shockwave go through his mind. He had been hoarding dead money while Mrs. Carter was creating a living income. He realized that saving for safety was an illusion. True safety comes from having assets that generate value when things go wrong. He ran back home with a new plan. He was done being a victim of circumstance. It was time to change his strategy. He grabbed the envelope. Mia panicked, asking what he was doing, but Ethan told her to trust him just this one time. The next morning, he stood outside the hardware store. His hands were shaking. Spending this money felt like jumping off a cliff. He took a deep breath and bought 2 high-capacity rechargeable lights and a heavy-duty power bank, spending almost all his savings. When he brought the equipment home, Mia cried. She saw an empty envelope and useless toys. Ethan saw a new beginning. He plugged everything in and waited. For days the power stayed on and the equipment sat there, gathering dust in the corner. Doubt started to creep in. Had he made a mistake? Was he foolish to think he could outsmart the poverty trap? Then a massive storm hit. The power grid failed completely. The town was plunged into a darkness that would last for days. While the neighbors panicked, Ethan calmly flipped a switch. His living room was instantly flooded with bright, steady, and comforting light. Leo didn't cry this time. He laughed. Mia looked at Ethan, finally understanding that he hadn't spent the money, he had invested it. Ethan didn't stop there. He hung a sign outside his door offering phone charging and light rentals for a small fee. Within minutes, neighbors were lining up. They needed to contact their families, and Ethan had the only power source available nearby. He charged their phones and rented out his spare light. For the first time, money was flowing in, not just flowing out. By the end of the night, the box was full. He had made more in a few hours than he did in 2 shifts. When the power returned, Ethan didn't hide the profit in the drawer. He looked at Mia and said, "Let's buy more." They reinvested everything. They bought more lights and even a small solar panel to charge them for free using the sun. Even little Leo got involved, helping to clean the equipment. The fear in the house was replaced by a sense of purpose. Ethan still worked his security job, but the desperation was gone. He knew he had a backup plan that he controlled. When the next winter came, the power was out for 3 days. But this time, Ethan's family was not cold or afraid. Their home became a hub for the neighborhood. They provided warmth and light, and the income from those 3 days was significant. Mia managed the accounts. They finally had enough to pay the rent in advance and buy proper winter clothes for everyone. Ethan finally bought new boots. He realized that hoarding money had kept him poor, but using money wisely had set him free. They expanded into solar energy, reducing their own bills to 0. The money they once feared losing was now working for them. The old envelope was thrown away. Ethan learned that safety isn't about hiding cash, it's about building the capacity to generate value. The atmosphere in the house changed completely. The crushing weight of scarcity was lifted, replaced by the lightness of hope and opportunity. Ethan began teaching others in the town. He told them, "Don't just save to survive, invest to thrive, make your money move. Saving is important, but saving out of fear creates a prison. Investing out of wisdom creates a bridge to a better life. Think of money like seeds. If you keep them in a jar, they never grow. You must plant them to harvest more." Ethan's house was now the brightest on the street. He had transformed his fear into fuel and his poverty into prosperity. The greatest gift he gave Leo was not the money, but the mindset. Leo learned that he had the power to create. Mrs. Carter watched them with pride. She saw that her simple lesson had changed the destiny of an entire struggling family. The sun always rises after the dark, but you must be prepared to light your own way until the morning comes. Ethan no longer feared the dark, nor the broken shoes, nor the empty envelope. He knew he could always generate more light. Remember this: never save money just to feel safe. That safety is fragile. Use your resources to build true resilience. Don't let your potential rot in a drawer. Look around you, find a problem, solve it, and let your money work. Today, Ethan's family eats well. They sleep soundly, not because they have a pile of cash, but because they have a business. Leo is now learning to invest too. The cycle of poverty has been broken, replaced by a cycle of growth and learning. If you are stuck in the trap of saving every penny, ask yourself, is this money alive or is it dead? Life is about motion. Your skills, your kindness, and your capital must all be in motion to create a good life. One man's change in mindset can elevate a whole community. Ethan didn't just save himself, he lit up the whole town. True security is knowing that no matter what happens to the grid or the economy, you have the power to create value. Don't be afraid to take a calculated risk. The biggest risk of all is doing nothing and hoping for the best. It started with a light bulb and a choice to stop hoarding and start building. What will you build? Love grows better in a house that is not filled with fear. Financial freedom gives you the space to love freely. Ethan sleeps well tonight. He knows that tomorrow the sun will rise and his panels will catch every bit of it. Stop squeezing your pennies till they scream. Let them go, let them work, and watch them return to you multiplied. Thank you for joining us on this journey from darkness to light. We hope Ethan's story has sparked a new idea. This is True Life Lessons. Please subscribe and share this video to help spread the light of wisdom to everyone.